Good morning, Petaluma. Wow, that's a loud mic. Good morning. I think you got our attention. Petaluma, California, are you ready?
Petaluma is always ready!
You may begin.
Did you hear that a fire crossed the freeway last night and burned down 5,000 homes?
The smoke is so thick in Petaluma, and it's going south all the way to San Francisco.
With the help of my agricultural neighbors, I actually moved my sheep evacuated to the Fairgrounds last night.
This is crazy. The effects of climate change are happening faster, harder, and sooner than I ever imagined.
What can we do?
For starters, we have to get our city council to acknowledge the climate crisis by declaring a climate emergency.
As your mayor, I declare this meeting open.
As your city manager, I need to hear your priorities.
Council, I'm a dad. We were not even sort of prepared for this level of emergency. The entire community must be better prepared, and we must reduce emissions to zero as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it's just going to get worse.
Make equitable climate action a #1 priority.
Save the fairgrounds.
No new gas stations in Petaluma. Declare a climate emergency now.
As a new council member, I move that this council declare a climate emergency.
And I second.
We have written a draft climate emergency resolution for the council, and hundreds of people have signed on in support.
My business supports this.
My school supports this.
My nonprofit supports this.
And I approve.
The city council unanimously approved the first climate emergency in Sonoma County.
Petaluma inspired all cities in Sonoma County to pass a climate emergency resolution, and we are the only county in the nation that can say that.
All things are possible through people-powered Petaluma.
Community, will you help us put together a climate action commission?
Yes, we'll do outreach and organize a climate equity forum. We just asked the city focus on lived experience as well as climate expertise through a first ever city public interview process.
And we had a record number of candidates from all walks of life, which resulted in a commission that truly represents our community.
I grew up in Petaluma, and as a regular community member, I never envisioned myself joining a commission. But when I heard there was a focus on equity and lived experiences, I was inspired to apply. As a commissioner, I pushed to make our work community-centered.
Where is the youth representation? Where is my voice in all of this?
Focusing on underrepresented communities, including our youth.
We need your voices. Please apply.
People my age will have to deal with the climate crisis longer. We need to have a voice.
Even during the pandemic, we knew climate action was still a priority. 24 volunteers and our commission rapidly mobilized to draft a 50-page climate emergency framework that became our city's guiding document.
That framework set a 2030 goal for carbon neutrality and emphasizes equity and climate justice, mitigation and sequestration, adaptation and social resilience, and community engagement. All things are possible through people-powered Petaluma.
Despite the incredible momentum in setting multiple national precedents, the voices of those most impacted by climate remained underrepresented. As a core catalyst and partner to the city's climate work, Daily Acts, a local nonprofit, recognized the need to uplift these voices. So we partnered with Equity First Consulting to launch the Petaluma Equitable Climate Action Coalition, or PEACOC, introducing a new model of civic engagement to ensure historically marginalized voices help lead the way.
Eco-grief was a daily battle for me as wildfires, record temperatures, and floods became the new normal. But then I joined PEACOC. This program was the epitome of equitable community engagement. Our cohort was cross-generational and reflective of all our city's demographics. What's remarkable about PEACOC was that we were given stipends to learn about climate, attend city council meetings, and to facilitate outreach in listening sessions. For Spanish-speaking, Black, Indigenous, Asian, youth, unhoused, and LGBTQ+ communities. What's even more powerful is that we were able to incorporate their own feedback into policy recommendations. This truly felt like an example of community engagement that didn't feel extractive.
Hopelessness and frustration is how I felt in 2020 due to the state of our country. PCAC helped me turn those feelings into direct, people-powered action. PCAC grew my knowledge of environmental issues and how climate change directly impacts our town, especially our most vulnerable communities. By design, this program ensured equity and accessibility. I later became the program coordinator, working with city staff and inspiring our second youth-led cohort to uplift themselves and their community. Going from a participant to a coordinator and seeing our recommendations implemented from policy change to over 60, that's 60, land resilience projects was one of the most powerful experiences of my life.
All things are possible through people-powered Petaluma.
Given the climate emergency and its impacts, we knew we needed a bold community vision, one created through holistic planning and cross-sector collaboration, a path toward a well-designed, equitable, regenerative, carbon-neutral city.
A group of community members initiated and won a grant that brought $180,000 in design support to Petaluma. With that, the American Institute of Architects sent in experts from across the country to help us co-create a shared vision.
City staff, community members, business leaders, educators, and design, policy, and infrastructure experts came together in a groundbreaking, community-driven urban planning process. We toured the city by bike and by bus, held bilingual pop-ups at grocery stores and religious centers, and gathered over 350 community members at a town hall in a barn at the Fairgrounds.
This unique process sparked powerful changes at the city level. For example, 15-minute neighborhoods became the foundation of our 20-year general plan update, bringing services closer to home with greenways, corner stores, and local hubs. The city removed transit fares, making Petaluma the first Bay Area city to make bus fare free for everyone. All things are possible through people-powered Petaluma.
Exciting new community-led projects popped up, and I was inspired to co-found a grassroots organization called Cool Petaluma that has trained over 200 people to create their own block-based teams, helping neighbors build resilience and take climate action together. A nonprofit purchased 62 acres to create a river park using a community-based design process to restore habitat, create public spaces, and build housing.
Petaluma was the first city in the country to ban the construction of new gas stations. The nonprofit Relief Petaluma is planting 10,000 native trees around the city in areas of limited canopy cover and poor air quality. I co-founded Safe Streets Petaluma to make it safe and convenient for people of all ages and abilities to get around our city without getting in a car. All things are possible through people-powered Petaluma.
Our 55-acre fairgrounds is the heart of our city. It bridges our east-west divide in Petaluma. It has so much potential, but it hasn't been accessible to our residents, has significant deferred maintenance, and has never been talked about publicly. We needed to hear from voices in our community that we traditionally have not engaged in our civic decision-making. We asked, how can we utilize the fairgrounds to meet our community's needs now and to the future?
To deliberate on the best uses for this property, the nonprofit Healthy Democracy designed and facilitated an open process using a lottery selection of participants based on an oversampling of underrepresented groups. 36 residents were selected and stipends supported for their time.
So over 90 hours of deliberation, key visions aligned. And it was clear that the community wanted to have a gathering space, agriculture, and the annual fair. And they also were interested in keeping that evacuation function. So despite conflicting opinions at the start, we built a strong community together.
Our residents envisioned a welcoming, climate-resilient space that fits the needs of a changing and diverse community. A safe, accessible green space for community events, an annual fair, ag education, and evacuation services. honoring our community's agrarian history and heritage, and improving the property for future needs with the emphasis on community building while improving infrastructure and access. In the last year and a half, we've piloted uses that our community has asked for, including cultural and ag events, pickleball courts, and our first ever city-run annual fair. Woo! And we recently secured a $1 million grant to begin master planning the site.
All things are possible through people-powered Petaluma.
We turned grief into action, silence into protest, despair into declaration. We built new systems, new spaces, and new hope, not just for some of us, but for all of us. Together, we declared to imagine a city that is just, regenerative, and unstoppable. This is more than a movement, this is a revolution of community.
We are people-powered Petaluma.
Well, that was an emotional roller coaster. Thanks so much, Petaluma. Super inspiring, and West Coast learning a lot about how to think about ourselves in the future. I have a question about I was very curious about Peacock, even though I didn't know that was how it's said when I read your materials, and just sort of what's next for that. It's super, that trade-off between deep depth and breadth. And so for you folks, just, how did you stay connected to the community while you were doing your work, and what do you see as next?
I could talk about the program after, and you two want to share your experience?
So for me, PCAC was really amazing just because I, directly impacted by climate change, the fires, just like all of us up here. But feeling the frustration of how do I get my voice out there? I don't even know where to start. And honestly, again, I didn't have that much knowledge around climate change and environmental issues. So this program gave us that education, gave us that training. You were able to connect with others in the community, BIPOC communities, youth, and everything. So, and we're still connected. Celeste was in cohort 1 with me, and so just seeing all the great work that a lot of people that were participants are still doing is really amazing to me.
Are there 6 people in the cohort?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just add that Peacock really reinforced to me my commitment to environmental justice, and so I continue to work in the field. That's currently what I do for work, and yeah, like Ree said, we're still in connection with all of our cohort members and continue to collaborate on different environmental justice initiatives.
And then on the program side, like Ree mentioned, the 60 land resilience projects, after both Peacock cohorts and some other listening we did over multiple years, we were ready for action, and so we applied for 2 grants worth $6 million to implement the land resilience project, saving 2.8 million gallons of water a year, creating 1.5 acres of habitat, and doing rain gardens and gray water systems and rain systems and school gardens and parks. So,
thank you.
I really love the presentation, guys. I was in awe about the kind of constant evolution that you guys had, and I was really happy to hear about the free transit and how that kind of air ballooned into such an amazing system. And with that being said, my question for you guys is kind of just also regarding Peacock. So when assuming that many members of this cohort may be coming from marginalized groups and have complex schedules, competing needs, and also limited resources, how is Peacock structured to ensure that it's working with its members for it to be really accessible and ensure that there's a long-term sustained engagement with those members?
So the first thing was stipends, ensuring that everyone was paid for their time, because there's a lot of times, especially with the BIPOC community, we're doing the work, but we're not getting, paid for it. So that, and I think most of the time, the first time it was usually on Zoom. The second cohort we were in person, but we were ensuring that it's after school hours, after work hours, really working with folks' schedules to see what works best for them. Providing language access. We did have a Spanish speaker in our second cohort, so we were able to work with her. Unfortunately, she felt that it was going to be a burden on us to work with her, even though it absolutely was not at all. We were happy to have her there. We thought her voice really mattered. So yeah, I would say stipends, the education, the training, the hours that we were doing the cohort.
And then maybe our city manager could mention the broader influence of how Peacock was designed on how the city works around engagement.
Thanks, Trayton. So from Peacock's recommendations from both cohorts, we integrated into our general plan update that we're currently doing. It changes the way we do community engagement. That's why we did the Fairgrounds panel. And we are doing, the city's investing in leadership development, and so we can make our representation the most diverse and representative of our community.
Right, that's really important. It's not just that the demographics are changing, but the leadership engagement is changing. And you know, we do all the standard communication, bilingual, multilingual, and council meeting broadcast, pretty standard things. But now we have on our Park and Rec Commission 2 Spanish monolingual speakers, which really changes the game for how do you have full engagement when you have monolingual participants. So.
Well, thank you for for what you're doing, and also for kind of bringing to life your presentation, really making it tangible in some way. My question is interesting because clearly there's broad support for this in your community. I think that comes across. My question is for those folks who are not the cynics, forget the cynics, but the people who are a little skeptical or just not on board. How do you continue to engage them, bring them along, and not necessarily, I'm not talking about converting them necessarily, but how do you make sure that they are still on board, if you will, with where you're headed?
My name is Natasha Juliana. I run Cool Petaluma, the new nonprofit that came out of all of this. And we do a lot of work and a lot of thinking around that. And for one thing, as you saw with our entrance, we start our climate engagement around emergency preparedness. And for our community, that seems to resonate with almost everyone. And the other thing that seems to really resonate, especially after COVID, is people long to know each other again. Despite what you might hear in the national media, like, people really want to know their neighbors. It feels good to know your neighbors. So we focus on that block-based, you know, getting to know the people who live right next door to you, which is great for both the emergency preparedness and also that peer-to-peer influence, where suddenly you know someone who has solar, or you know someone who has an induction stove or a heat pump water heater, and it doesn't seem so weird anymore. We also focus on, like, old-fashioned values like mending your clothes and growing food and things that we have an agricultural community, things that everyone, you know, a lot of people can agree on. And so we sort of change the language around it, and we don't talk necessarily about climate change, but those old-fashioned values and taking care of each other.
And when we did the Fairgrounds panel, we also, that just actually complemented our very traditional community engagement process. And so what had happened was, when the panel deliberated and made their recommendations, we closed that feedback loop. And it actually just, I think it reaffirmed our community's values. So people were like, yes, they represented us. So it was really seeing our community as a whole.
That's a great question. As an elected official, I worry about that a lot. And the positivity and the connectivity to all the nonprofits is what makes the message keep going and keep bringing people up.
I do have a question about the civic assembly that you did about the fairgrounds. Very impressive. I'm curious. I know they're really expensive. They're time-consuming. All of that. I'm wondering about, like, what you've learned from that experience and how you can take it, how other communities can take that into the world.
I love that question. I'm so excited you asked that question because I answer it in every presentation I do. That cost is not as expensive as if you hired a consultant to do a traditional outreach. We were investing in our community, and that is what really drove that home, is we were investing in our community. We were paying our residents. We met our residents where they were, and we came to the table, and we valued their input and valued their time. And we could not have had a more thoughtful deliberation. And at the end, which was this topic had not been discussed publicly in 80 years. And it was one of the biggest rocks we had to lift. And that panel's recommendations, when the council made that decision, we had 2 people in our council chambers instead of having a rush on City Hall. The best thing we ever did, best thing any community could ever do.
Thank you. I do want to give Debbie a chance to ask.
I just want to say it was a tremendous leap of faith for the council, the blue ribbon panel type people, and we had to trust the public, and we did.
And I was just want to add, when we asked the panel if they would do this for other things in the city, they said absolutely. So hopefully we can use this process
charter.
and other sort of things moving forward and put it in our policy documents. So this is how we do business, not traditionally how we have done it.
You still have time? Okay. I thank you for the presentation and for the effective demonstration of what you went through. 15-minute neighborhoods. I'm fascinated by this concept. Can you tell us more about how the 15-minute neighborhoods help with emergency preparedness and what would be different now that you have those?
I think I'll let you speak to it allows us to really create mobility hubs and community in each of our regions of our city, so that in particular we focus them currently around schools, so that we have safe routes to schools, and our streets are being designed to make those streets accessible and walkable. And then at that same time, while you're doing that, you're connecting the community so that they're also preparing for emergencies. We use our local hazard mitigation plan, which is what we're doing as a county now, as what we learned out of those 2017 fires. And so through that, we are building trust and bringing in our schools, our nonprofits, our residents to really be a part of all of that. So those start our 15-minute cities, and then the idea ultimately is that pop-up businesses start to rise up to support some of that, so that people really understand that they can be a part of developing their own community.
Thank you so much, Petaluma. Time is up, but you've just shown us such amazing leadership across the community. Thank you.
One last thing, we're just getting started.
Well, keep us posted.
And now, coming to you from the land of the sun, from the heart of the Treasure Coast, one of the fastest growing cities in America, the challenger, the contender, a model city for all of America. Please welcome the city of
on sunshine. Whoa! We're walking on sunshine. Let's go! We're walking on sunshine. Let's go! And don't it feel good? Hey! All right now. And don't it feel good? Hey! All right now. I used to think change took forever, but not anymore. And I just can't wait for the day we protect even more. Now every time we walk on the trail, gotta slow ourselves down. 'Cause nothing compares to the joy when the birds fly around. We're walking on sunshine. Let's go! We're walking on sunshine. Let's go! We're walking on sunshine. Let's go! And it's starting to feel good. Hey! All right now. And don't you feel good? Hey! Oh yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Good morning, Port St. Lucie.
Good
That was a major serotonin hit. Thank you. Port St. Lucie, Florida, are you ready?
So,
you may begin.
City of Port St. Lucie does a Citizen Summit annually.
Every year it gets better, and it's just a great way to learn about the community.
It's given the citizens an opportunity to have a voice, which is the biggest thing.
Citizens can just speak what's on their mind and ensure that people are going to actually work on it and try to provide the things that they want to see.
This year we're celebrating a special program launch called Naturally PSL, Green Spaces and Places.
We're going to work with residents on conservation, getting to know them through volunteer programs. We will do award programs to award some great efforts happening naturally in the neighborhoods.
So they tied us in with the Naturally PSL initiative because what we do is very much aligned with that. The Oxbow Eco Center is a wonderful little nature center here in the heart of Port St. Lucie. Our main focus is environmental education, and so I see some real synergies with that.
Naturally PSL came from this exact Citizen Summit event 2 years ago. Residents said they would like us to invest more in neighborhood green spaces and preserves.
In Port St. Lucie, we have a vision, and our vision is to put residents first. And this project was really a perfect example of us putting residents at the center of everything we did.
We did a lot of interviews with the residents and have really learned a lot from the residents themselves.
They are very scared about all of that development that is taking place and what will happen to our natural green spaces because of it.
I think it's paramount that we save these trees and these natural spaces, and I will say the city has done a great job of preservation.
We have a huge volunteer program, so that is the way that we get our citizens involved with helping natural resources.
Once you have knowledge, I think people, as a general sense, want to do something good for nature. So this helps them say, you know what, I can do something.
The City of Port St. Lucie is listening to citizens, and they're continuing to deliver what the citizens want, and it just gets better every single year.
Good morning. I'm getting a little teared up. My name is Jolene Caraballo, and I am honored and privileged to be the vice mayor of this wonderful city, the city of Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie was drawn up on a desk, carved up and sold as a dream. Its original developer replaced forests with rows of homes. But what makes a city isn't where it starts. It is the people who walk it, who shape it, and grow it. Today, our friend Lucie has just discovered a trail along the North Fork of the St. Lucie River, one of the most biodiverse estuaries in the world. There is no better way to learn about a city than walking it with a local. So, let's go!
Hi, I'm Lucie, president of Port St. Lucie Black Women Walk. After moving to Port St. Lucie 5 years ago, I started this group to support women in our community to build healthier lives just by moving their feet.
Hi, Lucie. We're the Jeffers family. Jean, Jack, Henry, and Jim. And we saw this map at the Citizen Summit this year, and we got to pick out our favorite green spaces on it. Today, we're bird watching.
Oh look, a snowy egret. I learned about them at my summer camp at the Oxbow Eco Center.
When I volunteered at the Oxbow, we taught thousands of children about our native plants and animals. It's a wonderful resource to have right in our backyard.
Did you know my walking group helped shape this map? Last year, city staff joined our walks, asked what we loved, asked what we needed, and actually listened. Our input helped shape the city's new initiative, Naturally PSL. Green spaces are pure magic. Every trail, every park, every tree directly impacts physical and mental well-being, especially in underserved communities.
Hi, Lucie! It's Alexis! As the design coach for PSL through Bloomberg Harvard Innovation, I am just so proud to see how Naturally PSL has taken root. The team made sure to reach out to so many people of all kinds of backgrounds and make sure to try hard to get everyone to have an equal voice. I've worked with cities across the world, but I gotta tell you, Port St. Lucie's energy is something special.
That's
That's right, Alexis. I am Nikki, a Bloomberg Harvard Fellow who fell in love with the energy of City of Port St. Lucie. While residents generated over 1,000 ideas, I'm here to help implement them with all city departments.
And I'm Zach from Parks and Rec, and these ideas didn't just stay on paper, they changed how we show up in neighborhoods. We didn't just come up and hand people a finished plan. No, we knocked on doors and asked, what do all these spaces mean to you? The residents shared their vision, and we got to work, y'all!
Hey, you three, want to join us on our walk? So,
let's go!
Hi, Henry.
Hi, Officer McGregor. I'm trying to spot my favorite birds.
I bet you didn't know nature and the environment are part of my job as a Port St. Lucie police officer.
I thought the police just caught the bad guys.
Well, you're right. But we also want to prevent crime from happening in the first place. That's why we're the safest large city in the state of Florida. The city uses crime prevention through environmental design techniques. It's been proven that well-lit buildings and parks reduces crime. So, let's go!
Our walk has taken us to the Port District and Pioneer Park, our newest riverfront destination. Designers carefully integrated the park into the existing natural environment.
I love how Pioneer Park teaches us about our native animals and plants with interactive signs and play equipment.
Like the giant alligator.
And like the giant banyan tree.
Hi, Ludi. Speaking of trees, have you gotten your free tree yet? Twice a year, Keep Port St. Lucie Beautiful gives away Florida-friendly trees. We've already given away over 14,000 trees to our residents.
Hey, kids. In the Public Works Department, we're always looking for community partners to help us. We've also planted over 75,000 trees within the city to help our expansion of the tree canopy for shade from this Florida heat. We need everyone's help for this to create a resilient city.
And we use our city's green spaces for other learning opportunities, like the Boys and Girls Mobile Club.
And as a Boys and Girls Club staff, we are super excited that with the city's support, we are able to bring our mobile club to neighborhood parks to engage families who don't have access to one of our local clubhouses. So we are able to meet them where they are.
And just like that comes someone unmistakable. Hey, it's Water Woman!
Hey, Water Woman. I met you at the Citizen Summit and learned about the water quality project at McCarty Ranch.
That's right. McCarty Ranch is one of our biggest projects. In fact, most cities leave it up to the state or federal government to tackle a project of this magnitude, but not PSL.
How does it work?
It keeps the river clean by storing stormwater and filtering out pollutants before reaching our waterways. Over 6 billion gallons are cleaned up every year because of this project.
That's like 4 million swimming pools. That's so cool.
Right? We know that keeping the St. Lucie River healthy is important. We've transitioned from aging septic systems to our centralized sewer network. More than 11,000 conversions so far, one of the largest septic to sewer conversion projects in the country. We've diverted over 20 billion gallons of wastewater from entering the river.
Hi, I work on keeping waterways clean too, and keeping everyone safe from flooding through our 10-year stormwater master plan. This is a big way we've built a resilient city in the face of hurricanes. In fact, this month we had our 19th Hurricane Expo, highlighting preparedness and recovery to thousands of residents.
We also champion high-performance public spaces. The pond we just walked by, it stores stormwater, but by adding trails and benches, our residents get to enjoy the benefits of the pond every day.
And I can help keep it clean. I'm Wayne. I lead a group of 61 volunteers. We also have 93 groups in the city, and we do over 700 cleanups every year.
The group has arrived at the Spruce Bluff Preserve, where creative partnerships with local teens has made a big difference.
Wow, this bridge is beautiful.
Thank you. It was my Eagle Scout project last year. I had to plan what to do, raise all the needed funds, and led a team of 48 PSL residents to replace all the damaged wood with sustainable composite materials along this 210-foot bridge. I wanted to make sure it would be here for a long time so many more people can enjoy it.
Hey Charlotte, I'm Summer. While you were working on this bridge, I was serving on the city's youth council. And in my spare time, I was putting together a new initiative called the Ripple Project, Creating Aqua Allies. I received a grant and I'll use it to educate youth on environmental stewardship using tools like water quality testing kits.
Woo! That reminds me of my son, Owen. Nature is one of his passions. We're working together on a sensory-friendly, inclusive nature preserve with other volunteers to celebrate neurodiversity.
Wow, I love seeing young leaders like you stepping up. We hit every place on our map. Oh look, our egret follows all along our walk today.
This might be the end of our walk, but it is not the end of our journey. PSL will continue to chart new paths, blaze new trails with our residents towards a brighter and more resilient city.
Hey everyone, let's capture the moment.
1, 2, 3. Let's go!
Wow, that was great. Thank you so much. And big shout out to our snowy egret. I have to say that wasn't the embodiment of a snowy egret. I have a question about one of maybe the less sort of sexy parts of your plan, and that is the septic to sewer conversion. I'm assuming that is part of, it's a contrail of the way that the community was originally designed. So I'm really curious about how that's grinded out data work. So how are you working with community members to make that happen?
For us, it's mostly about education.
Michael, Leon, and then
yeah, it's really about education and information. So we host several opportunities a year for residents to come and learn more about septic to sewer conversions. We have a tremendous amount of septic systems in homes that are located right on the North Fork of the St. Lucie River. So we have grant funding available to those folks. So we have matching grant funding as well. So anything we can do to just sort of make it easy. We have a 10-year interest-free financing program. So some cities they're making it mandatory, right? So you don't have to connect unless your septic system fails. Then it is a Department of Health regulations. You do have to connect as long as the infrastructure is in place. But again, we make it very easy. Again, it's a 10-year interest-free program, and then it just sort of adds to your bill. So we try to make it as, forgive the vernacular, but palatable as possible. Excuse me. But just to try to make it an ease, because it is, I think some folks are hesitant because they don't want that extra bill. So again, we try to offer as much information, grant funding, and education as we possibly can.
Good morning. What an incredible presentation, and a big shout out to all the young people that were not just there, but involved. You all were amazing, amazing, amazing. And how many badges do you have, Scout?
In total, I have 66.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. I'm curious about the Bloomberg partnership, and it seems like are there Bloomberg staff on the stage, or is this ongoing? Can you help me to explain? I kind of understand the spark of it, but how it continues to work.
Absolutely. So we were really lucky to be one of 40 cities chosen around the world to participate in the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Program, and we took a challenge to them. And the challenge we took directly from our residents. At that Citizen Summit in 2023, they said their #1 need was more green space. They voted with their dollars. We give them pretend money, and we say, where would you spend those taxpayer dollars? And we knew that we had grown 50,000 new residents since 2020 alone. So how do you address that in a city that's growing so rapidly? We needed to get creative, and we needed the best minds in the world to do it. So we worked with the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Program. We entered the innovation track and met Alexis, working through the Bloomberg Center for Public Innovation at Johns Hopkins and the Center for Public Impact. And then we were able to, we had an amazing year working, many members of the team are here today that worked on that, working with over 1,000 residents on this issue. And we were able to have a Nikki Zen, our Bloomberg Harvard Fellow, come out as a summer fellow, and then they actually piloted with our city a 2-year fellowship because they were really believed in the work we were doing, and they wanted to see how we could continue to make progress. But this is not only beginning with our funder. We have in place resources to continue this work. So we are actually training, our entire leadership team is now trained in human-centered design. We did a strategic plan that was all human-centered design focused, pulling apart resident feedback. Every single department does a human-centered design workshop, digging into resident feedback. So this extends beyond even this funding relationship. This is baked into our DNA now.
You were just speaking my language. I don't have a question, so.
And we thank our partners profusely for their support.
What a great presentation. I loved everything. The dance, the presentation, everything was really great. I have two questions. My first one is about communication. How are these great initiatives have been communicated to people, especially to marginalized communities? And the second question is a bit random, but do people throw away their banana peels on the river or no?
Hi, I'm Sarah Prohaska. I'm the city's communications director. I can't speak to banana peels, but I can talk to communications. So we have a robust communications department. We have 14 people in our department. We have a team dedicated just to engagement. And and also another unique thing about the city of Port St. Lucie is we are one of 2 cities in the entire nation where our neighborhoods are considered fully integrated. So our neighborhoods have people of every background in them. So we try to go into the neighborhoods, and we tend to reach a cross section of the communities when we go into community parks and we go into neighborhoods. And we work with people like the Mobile Club. We actually just did some engagement when they go out to their communities. We tag along with them, and then we teach about naturally PSL. We always ask questions, we always get input and feedback, but we use the traditional communications tools. We use social media, we use our website, we use our digital ads. We do a ton of communications in the city of Port St. Lucie.
And, yeah.
So our 2 main languages are Spanish, Creole, and English. So we translate everything into English and Creole. Our website can be translated into any language. You just got to click a button to what language you want. Hundreds of languages on there. So most of our stuff are translated in Spanish or Creole, but Kate could talk to you about what we do at our Citizen Summit.
At Citizen Summit, we really were focused on designing for belonging, and so we actually have name tags that say, I speak Creole, I speak Spanish, so people could easily see and navigate, and we also had a sensory room because the Citizen Summit gets really loud, and so we really try to provide a lot of resources so everyone can participate. We are also doing extensive new neighborhood engagement, deeper neighborhood engagement, because really right now we're focused on going deeper. We've engaged a broad amount, and we're successful at that, but now it's really going deeper with residents and building with residents. We're co-creating with our residents now all of these projects, and you can see so many people on the stage have been involved now in multiple initiatives, and some are just new, and we know that they are never leaving now. They're with us forever. So we really believe in deep engagement and our Citizen Summit is held for a 3-hour period, a drop-in event, and it's kids can come. It's not limited to any ages. We make it very accessible to everyone.
So thank you for that presentation. Some of us on the jury were joking about how it feels sometimes like American Idol. So I want to say thank you for the song. It was one we all knew, but you made it your own. So great job on the song. But for my question, I actually want to follow up, I think related to the Bloomberg piece. I believe there was a line in there that said there were something like 1,000 ideas.
Yes.
And it's not just on paper, some of those are being implemented. I'm curious about sort of the community input on the ideas, but is there some way in which the community stay engaged in monitoring the implementation of those ideas and getting feedback on that?
Absolutely. I can bring Nikki Zen, our Harvard Fellow, to talk about how we worked even just recently on our trail map. So, trails map, yeah.
Thank you for the question. So one of the things that we learned from the ideas, there were over 1,000 ideas, and one of the things that we learned is that residents are not aware of the green spaces that are around the city. So the city staff went out and walked with Lucie, who you saw earlier as well. The city staff went out with Lucie and hear from community of what they would they like to see and to explore city's green space. And after the trail map is produced, we invite Lucie back and her group. We have another focus group discussion, and we're also doing a lot of other engagement sessions after the trail map has been produced to get more feedback and input on how we can improve them. And that is just one of the ideas that got implemented first. And there are many other ideas we are still currently working on, including conservation core and a pollinator, bus stops, things like that, when they were engaging with the residents that were engaging in the first place over and over again, so we can have people to follow along the journey together.
Yes, and we were recently selected to put the Trust for Public Land for the Common Ground application, where one of those green spaces we selected, they're going to be deeply involved in the stewardship of that exact green space.
All right, so my question for you guys is going to be a little bit about on the home ownership. And so I saw that the community has 84.9% home ownership, with like the median price being around like $400,000 for a house, which is pretty expensive. And so I was just wondering, with like those forms of demographics, what is kind of the way the community is prioritizing everyone in the larger community, but also some of those more select groups, and how are you guys communicating to them, and how are you guys tailoring your programs to be accessible to them as well?
And I'm going to include the vice mayor, who is the former president of the Florida League of Cities, to give that answer.
Can you repeat the beginning of your question, because I couldn't hear it right there?
Yeah, for sure. It was just about asking about how the home ownership, like how you guys are reaching like those maybe 16% of the community members that are not homeowners, and kind of like both from your programming perspective, and then kind of also from just like making sure how you guys prioritizing them along with the rest of the community.
So it's interesting, Port St. Lucie being incorporated in 1961 is a fairly new city, and so most of our build out actually took place, interestingly enough, post-segregation and into the 90s, really. And so as we grew as a community, everything kind of grew somewhat equitably, where we have over 89,000 single-family residential homes. So that is a challenge, because we don't have all that multifamily that we would need to really diversify our housing stock, and we are working on that. But what I can tell you is that because the single-family residential population is kind of spread out, our rental communities and our non-homeowners are also very well integrated in the community. And so we reach out to them, as we were just saying earlier, we go in throughout the neighborhoods and actually knock on doors. That's something that we really do, even as we get as large as we get. And then in addition to that, we work with different organizations as well as receive different grant funding to hopefully spur homeownership. We have one of the highest homeownerships, if you look it up, in the entire country. We have the highest millennial homeownership in the entire country. And I know you're not a millennial, that's considered old now. But but you know, depending on that age, that's a pretty impressive statistics. It's okay. I know, I'm like, I made it just by a little bit. But what I can say is that Port St. Lucie is a very welcoming community, and we are always constantly innovating on how we're going to bring more families in. Florida tends to be a retirement community. And so for us, it's how do we make sure every age group feels welcome and they have an opportunity here? And so we're very fortunate to have partners like Bloomberg and Harvard to be able to help spur some of those ideas and really contribute to how do we bring that to all the areas in the community and increase our homeownership. If I could have 100% homeownership, I'd be so happy, because that means everyone would have the American dream.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Port St. Lucie. Go tell your story to the rest of the country. It's an inspiration, and we'll see you out in the hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Seattle. I'm glad to see the Pacific Northwest repping with energy this morning. Thank you. Seattle, Washington, are you ready?
We are One Seattle ready!
You may begin.
Cue that video!
Hello to the National Civic Lead and my fellow All-American City finalists. I'm Bruce Harrell, Mayor of Seattle, and I'm proud to say that I'm the third generation of my family to call this city home. Now, much like the Coast Salish people who have cared for these lands and waters for countless generations, we in Seattle feel a responsibility to protect, restore, preserve the environment and natural resources that are vital to our health and future. You see, Seattle's natural beauty isn't just what makes this city so special. It's also because we draw visitors and new residents here every year. But with that growth comes challenges. Combined with the impacts of climate change, the pressures on our resources like food and water and energy, well, they demand action. Not just action, but partnership. A collaborative response where we work together to replenish and restore and sustain that which surrounds us. Today, I'm excited to share how our residents and our city government are coming together to co-create a bold vision of a healthier, cleaner, greener future for Seattle. Through our One Seattle approach, we're advancing a climate justice plan that not only prioritizes equity, but also takes decisive, necessary steps to build resilience. We're committed to ensuring that Seattle remains a thriving city, not just for us today, but for the generations that will follow. That's the power of all of us working together. Thank you for this opportunity to showcase our work and to hear about the inspiring efforts of cities all across the country. Together, we're building a brighter tomorrow for all of us.
Hi, my name is Dawn Lindell, and I'm the CEO for Seattle City Light. It is my honor to be up here with both colleagues and community partners from the Emerald City in the Evergreen State. And we are here today to share how we're reducing energy inequality and building a sustainable future together.
Hola, buenos dias. My name is Celeste Mundo, and I'm a member of the Dwamish Valley Youth Corps. The need to advocate became very real in 2022 when flooding in the neighborhood South Park displaced families and hurt small businesses.
We're here to share 3 stories of how local government and communities co-created a vision for a greener future. Our first story is about building a transportation system powered by clean energy and guided by community priorities.
你好，我的名字是宋雨婷. Hello everyone, my name is Angela Song and I'm the Transportation Electrification Portfolio Manager at Seattle City Light. Transportation is Seattle's #1 climate pollution, and although we've made great strides in our electric vehicle infrastructure investments, we know it's not enough, and that's why we are empowering communities to create their own energy future.
你好, my name is Stanley Cao. I'm the Community Liaison Advisor at the Department of Neighborhoods. So rather than make assumptions about community, we went directly to those most impacted by transportation emissions to understand their urgent needs.
大家好, I'm Linda Lee, one of the many community liaisons that provided community outreach for this project. Our goal was to engage 500 community members across 10 neighborhoods in 24 languages and cultural groups.
Community liaisons hosted electric vehicle demonstration with seniors and people with disabilities. We engaged residents and small businesses in their own languages. And we also listened to youth concerns about jobs and let teenagers even jump inside an electric vehicle where the gas engine used to be.
My first language is Mandarin, and I'm part of Seattle's Chinese community, so I knew to recruit people using WeChat app. At our focus groups, we created a welcoming afternoon tea vibe with snacks And the drinks.
We heard that people wanted clear, reliable information, in-translation support, hands-on technology demonstrations, and infrastructure that empowers entire communities and not just single households.
This feedback shaped a plan for community-led solutions, such as providing electric vans to social services, charging stations to small, women, and minority-owned businesses, as well as engaging youth to co-create green job opportunities.
And we're not done yet. We know innovation and resilience already exist within our communities, and it is our job to resource that resilience.
We can't shift away from fossil fuels in transportation without community leadership. Our partners at the Office of Sustainability and Environment embrace this too, co-creating the city's food action plan with community input.
Hola, buenos días. I am Cesar Garcia, co-founder of Lake City Collective, a grassroots organization. Alongside peers from diverse communities citywide, we partnered with the Office of Sustainability and Environment to develop the 2025 Food Action Plan.
Hello, good morning. I'm Bridget Igo from the Office of Sustainability and Environment, where I work on food policy and programs. Community partners like Cesar have long pushed to broaden who's at the decision-making table. For this plan, we engaged over 250 leaders from tribal governments, community, businesses, organizations, schools, and other institutions. We focused on deep listening and dialogue to address issues like food insecurity, supporting the local food economy, preventing food waste and climate pollution, and building resilient communities. The goal was to develop a plan that centered on the values and priorities like partners like Cesar.
This plan supports our local food system, and importantly, it supports communities like mine. It ensures our families have access to fresh, affordable food, and that our cultural knowledge and traditions are preserved for generations to come.
As Cesar said, this plan now supports dozens, actually hundreds, of community-led organizations and programs across Seattle. And this year, initiatives like those led at Lake City Collective have been added to a new online map so that people can explore local efforts in their neighborhoods and also hold the city accountable to our priorities of fair access to healthy, affordable food and food that's produced in ways that benefit people and the planet.
Our city is an ecosystem of communities preserving their heritage, caring for each other, and protecting the environment. My home is in the north side, in Seattle's largest creek watershed. City Hall sits down in the center, and for our next speakers, home is in the south, along the Dwamish River.
Hello, I'm Carmen Martinez. For over 23 years, I've worked with youth on environmental projects in Seattle's South Park. The work is personal. My grandmother came here 64 years ago to raise her children. My uncles once swam in the Dwamish River, which later became a Superfund site. We've been working ever since to restore it, focusing on education and understanding of our regional water system.
Hi, I'm Belinda Chin, the Public Programs Manager at Cedar River Watershed Education Center. Seattle's mountain watersheds provide some of the nation's highest quality drinking water to 1.6 million people. And we cannot sustain that without equity. Last year, we launched a field program inviting BIPOC communities, immigrants, elders, youth, and others to tour the watershed, connect with nature, and learn about Seattle's water system. This year, we're continuing that work with our community partners to reshape the utility into one that is multi-generational, culturally relevant, historically grounded, and rooted in shared decision-making.
After visiting the watershed, we talked about where our water came from and what caused the floods that displaced our neighbors. Hearing it from youth makes a bigger impact. Our community doesn't just want to take a survey. We want to become leaders in protecting our home.
The youth I work with now are children of those I supported a generation ago. While cleaning the river takes time, this work is making a real difference. We have changed the narrative. Government is now coming to us, and we are all working together.
Our amazing community partners have just shared what reflects the One Seattle approach, where local government and community partners share power to co-create innovative and culturally relevant climate solutions.
All of us on this stage, along with our community and organizations, will continue to work together to build a healthy, thriving, and resilient Seattle for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Seattle. Thanks for bringing many of the beautiful languages of Seattle to the stage. And flip chart skills are like amazing, so thanks for that too. I'm going to actually pass the first question to Gabriela, if you have one.
Thank you so much. That was really impressive. I really appreciate all the multi-generational, multilingual, multicultural aspects that you brought, both in the content and the way you've presented it. I wanted to ask a little bit more about something one of you talked about. One of you talked about the mutual accountability. I'd love to hear some of the ways that the community is able to hold the local government accountable. What kind of processes or systems do you have?
Thank you so much for this question, because it's really important in the way we do our work in Seattle. So some of the examples are, for example, in the development of the Food Action Plan, we did not just stop at community engagement. As we were drafting the plan, as we were putting together the materials, we kept going back to our community partners and saying, check our work. Are we getting this right? What's missing? What would make this more powerful? Another really concrete example is that in Seattle, we invest $34 million a year in food work. And community leaders like Cesar and hundreds of other community leaders participate as the reviewers for who gets funded and what gets funded. And that is incredibly important because communities most impacted by food system inequities know the solutions that will work for them.
Thank you for that question. And I would like to start by saying that Carmen's organization, my organization, they're coming here representing your west side in your community, your south side, your north side. You know, those communities that you know are in the heat map, any inequity map that you can imagine. And I would like to just say an example. In our community, we wanted to do a street mural. We were offered to do a painted street mural. And in our community, we can rally kids, youth, elders to come and help paint. However, we told our city, we don't want to do a painted mural here. We want the nice permanent murals that you're doing it across the city. Yeah. So we work with the city respectfully, and in that way make them accountable, so we can get the same as other neighborhoods are getting.
And we believe participatory decision-making is core to the efficacy of community outreach. Seattle has 31 community liaisons working for, representing 24 cultural groups. Language do matter in our outreach work. So we, by doing this, we hold our city government accountable.
I just wanted to add, in 2004, the city of Seattle started the Race and Social Justice Initiative. And I'm proud to say that in 2024, it became the law. It became the Race and Social Justice Ordinance, which underlines full accountability and listening to community partners.
Incredible. Thank you for such an extraordinary presentation. Are any of the flip chart artists on the stage? Oh, okay. Well, give them my thanks. They're beautiful, beautiful art. Just two quick questions. On the food action plan, I know that you just finished the plan in 2024, and I'm wondering if you could highlight any progress that you've seen since the plan. And then just part two of that question is similar on the Cedar River watershed tours. The involvement and participation has been extraordinary. I know that you originally wanted to do it to make sure people understood their responsibility. Are you seeing that translate into any changes in how people are behaving?
So I'll take the first question related to the food action plan, but I'm going to get Cesar up here too to talk to Fresh Bucks. So in 2024, we updated our food action plan because we needed to address deepening disparities in food insecurity, the impacts of climate change, and the impacts of COVID. But we've had a plan since 2012, and so I would like to highlight a couple of really powerful examples of this type of One Seattle Food Systems approach. One is that in 2018, Seattle passed a sugary beverage tax. Sugary beverage taxes are by nature regressive, but we had community come out and say, we will support this tax if the revenue goes back and is reinvested in communities most impacted by the tax, which is what we do today. The sweetened beverage tax is in a protected fund. It collects $20 million a year. It is curbing $20 million a year. It is curbing consumption of soda, which is the original intent, but in the meantime, it's collecting a lot of money. And one of the ways that we have used that is to expand Fresh Bucks. And I wonder if you would speak a little to Fresh Bucks.
I'll be happy to. Our organization has enrolled at 1,000 families, close to 1,000 households into that program that gives you a card, almost like a debit card, with benefits every month. Each household get $40 to buy only fresh fruits and vegetables. And even a couple of weeks ago, our organization started a pilot market where our community can get access to culturally relevant foods using that card. And there are a lot of grocers participating in this program.
Yeah, so Fresh Bucks, thank you, Cesar. Fresh Bucks today, because of community advocacy, because of the sweetened beverage tax and the way that those revenues are restricted to be spent in communities most impacted, today serves 12,000 households throughout Seattle with $5 million in fruit and vegetable benefits, generating $6.5 million in economic stimulus.
At Cedar River Watershed, last year was the first year we had the Equitable engagement tours. And to make it possible for community-based organizations to come up, they've received a stipend funded by Seattle Public Utilities to do the organizing work, to get the groups up there. They also got a lunch stipend so that they could bring a culturally relevant lunch with them up, because it's a long day up at the watershed. It's 35 miles outside of the city. And then Seattle Public Utilities paid for the bus. The tour is not the one and done. When we bring up multi-generational groups, and as communities have capacity, we are going deeper. So for example, Cesar happens to be in a group where we're working with him to create a career pathway to utility jobs in the watershed and throughout the utility. And so also finding out, where do your kids go to school? And so getting those schools up there to build up that intergenerational knowledge and placemaking and the civic engagement. So.
Yeah. Last night, I just got a notice that next month I will accompany a group of elders from Chinatown to tour the watershed. And also I got to know that they will give like $20 for each elder to buy lunch. So thanks for the generous, support. I don't know whether there will be big change, but so far I know the elders, the underrepresented, minority elders are stepping out to see our watershed.
Okay, I have a quick question and quick answer. So with all this infrastructure y'all have and all these relationships, like what's next? What's the spark in your eye?
One of the things that's next is that we need to build 11,000 level 2 charging stations by the end of 2030 to support that EV conversion. And that will be a very big challenge for us. We have about 900 right now, and we are targeting underrepresented communities so that we can put them where the need is. 1,100 more. Oh, excuse me, 11,000 more. Yeah, we'll do 1,000 high-speed chargers and 11,000 level 2 chargers by the end of 2030. Woo!
If I may, also quickly, I know we are almost at time. From our organization, we are a community-based organization. Environmental justice starts when communities impacted start asking themselves why. My wife and I started in 2017 asking ourselves why. Why our neighborhood look like this? And now, fast forward, we are building the first living building led by a community-led organization in the whole country and the world. Just so you know, a living building standard is like the Pike Peak building that you see here in this area. That's a living building. So we are building a resilient center up to that standard.
Okay, Seattle. We in Portland have a lot to learn from you, so I'm going to be trotting up there soon. So thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you out there. Well, good morning, Sparkle City.
Good morning.
Snyder, Texas, are you ready?
We're ready. Cue the video, please.
You may begin.
The spark is the beginning of something bright and powerful. It symbolizes energy, momentum, and inspiration. It shows that small acts can grow into a greater light. Welcome to Snyder, Texas, a place we proudly call Sparkle City. But in Snyder, that sparkle doesn't come from the sky. It comes from the community. It begins with a spark.
I love the way that this program has changed the mindset for West Texas. West Texas is not known necessarily for green efforts. We're oil and gas all the way. Now, of course, lately we've seen a lot of more green energy come into the area, which is fantastic. That's on a large scale. And what I love that this program has done is that it's encouraged families to think about what they can do to make a difference. So whether it's recycling bottles, whether it's utilizing water more responsibly, it has caused us all to rethink the impact that we can make on our community.
Driving by and seeing everything that has been done, the fresh flowers, the murals being painted, the trash cans being painted, just the cleanup of the community.
Middle school grades, getting in projects, you know, as far as recycling and everything. If you can come in a common goal and say, hey, we're all going to get together and we're going to try to do this and forget our differences. And kids never had any regrets about staying here. It was always just a good place to be.
Let us show you how we're passing that spark through our people, our programs, and our partnerships, and how it's lighting the way forward.
We are Snyder, Texas, a town of action, care, and connection, where community isn't just a word, it's how we live. We don't wait for change, we spark it. From one person to a team to an entire city. As city manager, I just don't oversee this work, I'm part of it, standing with the people we serve. We are Sparkle City, and it starts with just one spark.
Through our annual bottle recycling challenge, each campus competes to collect plastic bottles. Families, city staff, school clubs, and local businesses all pitch in. Students can win prizes, but more importantly, they earn ownership of their environment. And as a teacher, I see how that spark grows into leadership.
Over 10 years ago, I was one of the original Earth agents. Our schools, the city, and our community came together to take on 3 big challenges: plastic waste, recycling confusion, and low youth involvement in sustainability. Back then, we collected 3,000 bottles in 1 month. Last year, over 137,000 in just 3 days.
Since joining the STEAM team, my daughter, Harper, has grown in her confidence and leadership ability. She's presented to students and adults, toured the recycling plant, and even ran for STEAM Club president. She's learned a lot about recycling and community involvement. As a parent, I love seeing that this program lets children and students shine beyond the classroom.
As a member of STEAM team, I help teach others how and why we recycle. Some of our residents had questions on what could be recycled, so we taught them. At a recent Coffee with the Chamber event, me and family presented to over 40 people.
Our student-led recycling has grown into citywide efforts, like Caps for Life, our recycling ornament competition, dumpster art murals, and more, all helping us reach deeper into our community.
In our school, where 68% are low income and many are from Spanish-speaking households, we do our best to make sure our peers feel included with bilingual materials, campus leaders, and activities that help reach learners from all backgrounds and abilities.
We've partnered with our community to build a year-round collection system for bottles and caps. Thanks to everyone who contributes, our Caps for Life project has helped provide more than 300 chemotherapy treatments for children in Mexico. we've learned that one idea, when shared, can ignite a movement and inspire new opportunities. And now we pass that spark forward.
Keep Snyder Beautiful is a shared mission to care for our city and each other through beautification and sustainability. Our committee unites the city, chamber, school, and economic development. Programs are led by volunteers, students, and businesses. Together, we serve a diverse community that spans generations, cultures, and backgrounds.
In response to resident feedback, Take Back Sparkle City was launched in 2023. This supports our underserved neighbors across the city who need help with property upkeep. This April, over 100 households requested help, and 85 volunteers stepped up, loading trailers, clearing brush, picking up litter, and planting flowers downtown. This one-day event is followed by city crews who handle remaining requests and continue the cleanup momentum by removing dilapidated structures and clearing lots. Together, we've removed over 2,300 tons from our city. Participation continues to grow, and we've expanded with events like the Trash to Treasure garage sale and flea market, where community members filled 2 12-foot trailers with donated goods. We've also partnered on public art projects and facade grants. As a volunteer, this is more than cleaning up. It's about dignity, access, and showing up for each other.
I own a business downtown, and in 2022, my 19-month-old granddaughter was diagnosed with cancer. The closest cancer center is 90 miles away, so I spent a lot of time back and forth to doctor's appointments, treatments, and hospital stays. Halfway there was a small town with a beautiful mural. It became our beacon. We knew that we were almost home. That image stayed with me, and it began a 2-year journey to get our own bright spot on our building. This mural, dedicated to my Lila, would not have been possible without everyone's support and collaboration.
Since the addition of these murals, the city launched a survey to gather resident input about the future of this lot. More than 50 responses called for a gathering space with native plants, seating, and accessible pathways. Plans are now underway. Together, we're creating spaces that welcome everyone, projects led by many, and partnerships that last. And just like it was shared with us, we pass the spark on.
Preparedness isn't just about reacting. It's about planning ahead. When our community raised concerns about crisis response, we took action. I worked closely as the county judge with the city manager to create the emergency management coordinator role. By listening and responding, we've built a program that's proactive, local, and ready to respond.
With record heat, unpredictable storms, and rising earthquake activity, over 470 quakes this year, we need a dedicated focus. In just 1 year, we've launched bilingual awareness campaigns, restored FEMA required compliance, and built 4 new mutual aid partnerships in the region. What matters most is we've made emergency preparedness a conversation with our community. Every month, over 50 partners meet, including state reps, regional reps, and locals. We run tabletop drills, gather public feedback, and make sure the plan works for the people they're meant to. We've added warming and cooling centers for vulnerable neighbors and work directly with our senior center, schools, and nonprofits like Red Cross. It's not about systems, it's about connections.
As an event coordinator, my team and I plan some of our biggest community events, parades, downtown festivals, and our 4th of July celebration. The safety and well-being of everyone is always on my mind. That's why our emergency management partnership is so amazing. We walk through every route, exit, and what if together. As someone who loves this town, that kind of security means everything to me.
We are proud of how far we've come, and even more determined to keep listening to our residents, responding with actions and leading with education, because true resilience begins with an informed, engaged community. This spark has grown, and now it's time to move forward.
As a lifelong resident of Snyder and proud volunteer, I see what happens firsthand when people show up, not because they have to, but because they care. You see, a spark shines brightest when it's shared. Our partners have carried that flame. We've cleaned up our city, we've taught environmental sustainability, and have built a place where everyone has a role to play. Every spark you've seen today, our youth, our leaders, our neighbors, it all comes from one place, our people, and I'm proud to be one of them. Because in Snyder, we don't just pass the torch, we share it. And when one spark becomes many, that's when a city truly shines. We are! Snyder, Texas! We are! Sparkle City! And from our city to yours, we pass the torch, one spark at a time.
Oh my gosh, that was great. Thank you so much, Snyder. And big shout out to the students. That's a lot of bottles. One of the things I noticed about your application is, all this amazing volunteer energy and civic energy. How is that feeding into the emergency preparedness that y'all are working on right now?
Yes, we're starting to get a lot more people involved. They're seeing the need for it. They're seeing what they can gain out of it, and they're being more prepared and more active towards it.
I'd like to follow. Am I on? Okay. I'd like to follow up on the emergency response because as a small town of roughly 11,000 people.
Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned that you have 40 regional partners working together on emergency response. Could you speak more to that?
Yes, we have representatives from the 3 school districts and the college, the health department, EMS, city, county. We have our state rep from Texas Division of Emergency Management in on that meeting also. Anybody who has a stake in there comes to the meeting once a month. And we do transportation, and we sit down and talk about the plans, update the plans. What works for us may not work for somebody else, but we make it work for us.
What a great presentation. I really liked everything, the details, it was amazing. I have 2 questions. The first one is about, can you give me some details about your digital accessibility for people who cannot attend your in-person outreach meetings? And the second one is, can you give me more details about how the risk or marginalized populations are specifically engaged beyond the general outreach?
So on our website, we have many opportunities, and we've taken huge strides in making sure that everybody can access it. And we have opportunities for our city council meetings. We do live stream those, and anybody can access the link. And they're also uploaded to Facebook afterwards. There is a spot on our website where we have a module where they're updated. So we want to make sure that no matter what type of meeting it is, you have the ability to come online and watch that. And that's through our website, through a module. And then the second question was,
If I understand the question, we have an open door policy, and if they don't come to us, we go to them. We support all the events, like el 5 de Mayo, 16 de Septiembre, Juneteenth. We support the events, even the 4th of July, the Christmas parade. We support the events with our resources. We go out there and we visit with people, we listen to them. So we listen to their ideas. One example is, at the beginning of the year, we got awarded a state grant. One of it, you had to do a survey. It was for low-income neighborhoods, community. So we sent out surveys. We called. We didn't get any response. We, the current public works director, myself, we went out there and knocked on doors. We got the surveys. We got the questionnaires done. At the beginning of the year, the state awarded us a grant to address those neighborhoods. So we go out and get community engagement.
So I want to follow up a little bit on that because it sounds like you're doing some amazing work across the city, and I'm trying to look at the demographics and the size of your city and I see your themes, equity, inclusion, diversity. What I'm trying to maybe help me understand is like, what are you learning about what are the inequities from the conversations that you're having, and then how's that driving the decisions and the strategy? So I'm helpful if you could help me here, name that a little bit more for me.
I think something interesting about our community, like you mentioned, we're only 11,000 people. So we have to really meet the community members where they're at, and that takes all of us. It's not just a city effort. It is a city, county, economic development, chamber of commerce, school, and we're all doing different things. And what we do is we bring that together and we're able to talk about it. So for example, we have a teacher over here who's multilingual, and she makes sure that her students are involved in in Spanish, and she's able to work with them. I've seen it directly when she was doing a PSA assignment for recycling. She was speaking to them in their native language. And then we have Chamber of Commerce over here, who does participate in meal delivery for our residents. And sometimes those senior citizens, they're the only people checking in on that day. So we make sure that their voice is heard and that they can advocate for their needs. So really throughout our community, it's our trusted community partners reaching out and engaging and meeting people where they are. And then it's the leadership that's coming together and sharing what we can do better and what we can learn from them to make sure that we're taking care of our underserved population.
Thank you so much for the presentation. My question is going to be kind of understanding the process. So you guys do a lot of work within schools, within like the recycling work that you guys are doing, along with also the STEAM education. And so oftentimes from my personal experience, administration, school staff, and all of those individuals often receive a lot of pushback or they're too busy, and it's very hard to coordinate initiatives with them. And so what has been the process, and how did you guys overcome those challenges in making sure that there was alignment and buy-in from those important stakeholders within like that school district and local school realm?
Well, as we know, education of the students is critical, because without the kids, they're going to be our future. And so getting them involved through the education, following our TEKs that we have, they take it out into the communities, to their families, and then from that, we talk to the leadership and talk about the importance of that education, and through all that, this is where it all grows, and we get that buy-in, because without the kids, we don't get the buy-ins. They are the ones that get the adults involved, including parents, teachers, and everybody, because they build the excitement.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Just to follow up on that, so pretty much I was just curious, how did the process kind of originate to start those communications? How did you kind of do the proposal and do the value proposition for why we need that STEAM education and that recycling challenge in the first place?
Okay, how it started was, at the time, our public works director, they were starting about 10 years ago, 11 years ago, they were wanting to revamp the recycling efforts. They got some grants, got it up and going, but nobody was recycling. I was currently a second grade teacher, and we started a PSA with the kids and found that only about 2% in Snyder actually knew anything about recycling. And with that class, what they did is we said, well, we're gonna start recycling in our school. And so we started a recycling program. I talked to the public works director. They were able to bring that program in. They would support us, and they wrote a grant. They got bins for all the classrooms. We led at the school, we led the education for the kids. We developed a kid-centered group that went around and picked up the recycles, and from there it started to grow. And then without the city support, they came in and helped us with grants and getting that initiative going. And from there it's only grown because of the students.
Thank you for so many voices coming from Snyder and for, Sparkle City. That's a wonderful image. So there's a lot of trash that's being picked up and litter that's being picked up, and you have the click fix system where people can report that. I'm wondering how we prevent that from happening in the first place, and I'm wondering what efforts you're undertaking as a community to keep people from littering in the first place, if that makes sense.
So on the click fix, it does, just touching on that, it gives residents an opportunity to say, hey, here's a pothole in my community I'd love to see fixed, or hey, we have a problem with illegal dumping over here. And then we're able to, it's on a public platform, so then that directly goes to the city departments to kind of address. But what we're seeing in our community is huge efforts from the STEAM team and from the students over there. And they are absolutely leading this way. So they've been doing this for so many years. We decided to come together and do Keep Snyder Beautiful. And Keep Snyder Beautiful really is bringing all of us together under the same vision and mission, but we wouldn't be able to do it without these kiddos who are working, they are working so hard. They're at every cleanup event. They are collecting bottle caps all year round to provide chemo treatments for kiddos in Mexico. I mean, come on now, that's amazing. Yeah, so they're leading the way in communications, and we're working really closely with them on saying, hey, we're seeing this problem, how can we fix it? And so I really give the credit to the kids over there who are being proactive in our community and showing up. Even at the Coffee with the Chamber event, these two girls over there presented to over 40 people and taught them how to recycle. And that was part of an initiative where with Keep Snyder Beautiful, we got 2 grants last year, and one of them is for a recycling roll-off that's gonna go outside of their STEAM lab. So now they can full circle recycle within their school. So they get it from start to finish, which is really incredible.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for bringing Snyder, Texas to Denver. We enjoyed it, and keep going with your recycling. We can't wait to see what's next. That was a pep rally of the first order. Statesboro, are you ready?
We are ready.
You may begin.
And let's roll that beautiful Statesboro footage.
Whatever your pace, in Statesboro, Georgia, you can keep it. Whatever you choose to explore, here you can find it. Where good times are meant to be shared, and there's no limit to what you can do. So take a seat, or take a stroll. Make a memory, or try something new. Whatever that adventure, find your rhythm. So get caught up in the moment and go with the flow. Set your own pace in a place of Southern possibility.
Welcome, y'all. I am Mayor Jonathan McCollar, and we bring you greetings from the city that soars, Statesboro, Georgia.
We're a college town with a hometown heart. I'm Kendria from Georgia Southern University. With over 27,000 students, we are a driver of innovation and pride.
Our mascot, Gus the Eagle, reminds us that no matter where we're headed, Georgia Southern can help you soar.
In Statesboro, we know progress takes flight when we lead with heart, listen to every voice, and work together. In 2018, our poverty rate was 51%. Too many young people didn't see a future here. Since then, we've reduced our poverty rate by more than 30% by partnering with businesses, nonprofits, Georgia Southern University, and now we are building a city where everyone can soar.
Today, we'll take you on a journey showing how Statesboro strengthens environmental sustainability and resilience through community engagement. By neighbors helping neighbors, creating sustainability for all, and youth leading change, our short story will show why Statesboro is an all-America city.
Hi, I'm Edie. After Hurricane Matthew in 2016, my dad and I started Bilingual, helped with coordinate local disaster response. When I did this, I then decided in our last storm to create a real-time disaster map so that we could notify our neighbors with road closures and so they could stay safe and connected.
I'm Julius, a member of VOAD, or Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster. We unite neighbors, churches, nonprofits, and emergency officials when disaster strikes. We light the pathway to life-saving resources.
I'm Dwayne Grice, founder of Grice Connect, a hyper-local news source for the residents of Statesboro and Bullitt County. Grice Connect publishes vital resources like Edie's interactive map, completely free, to keep our residents and our responders safe.
Since 2016 alone, BOAD has responded to over 15 disasters and trained over 46 local volunteers to respond. Last year, our Bullock Strong Fund raised over $60,000 from community members to help others recover post-disaster.
VOAD, it isn't just a recovery organization. We build community resilience. We partner with Feed the Borough, an organization that has served more than 3 million meals for families in need in Bullitt County.
In Statesboro, it always comes back to neighbors helping neighbors.
Hi, I'm Willow. When I planted roots in Statesboro, I knew I wanted to make a difference. What I found in places like the Botanic Garden, the Farmers Market, and our community garden was connection, purpose, and community.
Hi, I'm Tamika, coordinator of Keep Statesboro Bullock Beautiful, a local nonprofit working to make our community cleaner and greener. We plant trees, we clean up litter, and we host fun, hands-on sustainability events throughout the year. One of our most impactful projects is the Statesboro Community Garden, where families can grow food, kids learn about composting, and neighbors connect over seeds, stories, and shared spaces. It's about growing our community as much as crops.
Hi, I'm Helen, and I serve on the Greener Borough Commission, where we're building a more sustainable Statesboro. We inform and advise on environmental best practices and strategize for a renewable future by hosting events like Fix It Fridays, where anyone can get a household item repaired for free.
Hi, I'm Kelsey, the Farmers Market Manager. In 2021, Visit Statesboro transformed an overgrown warehouse near downtown into the heart of the Main Street Farmers Market. At the market, sustainability means more than just produce. It means families can thrive. We not only accept EBT dollars, we match them, ensuring every family has access to fresh, healthy food. On Saturday mornings, the market becomes one of the town's most vibrant social spaces.
Hi, I'm Tangie, Statesboro's councilwoman. In 2023, we launched the Statesboro Area Transit Bus System with $1 bus rides. We had connected residents to jobs, doctor's appointments, and shopping areas, completing over 27,000 trips already.
Sustainability for all means more than clean spaces and fresh food. It means ensuring that every child sees a future for themselves in the place they call home. That's why we invest in our youth, not just as participants, but as partners, shaping tomorrow and leading change.
When I was elected mayor in 2018, 14,474 of our county's youth were living in at-risk situations, a staggering number that's more than any single organization can solve. But together, it became our greatest opportunity to build a stronger and more united Statesboro.
Hi, I'm Tina, Chair of the Statesboro Youth Commission. Driven by conversations with our youth, we partnered with the city to build the foundation of 4 programs that center youth-powered leadership: Youth Connect, Youth Council, Village Builders, and Youth Leadership Bullock.
Hi, I'm Lasara. I'm the city's youth program coordinator. Guided by youth voices and community mentors, these programs develop leadership skills and job training. Our community partners and the Youth Council continue to build the structure of these initiatives. Community ambassadors in each village connect with each neighborhood to ensure each unique need is being represented. In 2024, our efforts helped Statesboro earn the 2024 Visionary Cities recognition from Georgia Municipal Association and Georgia Trend Magazine. Now hear directly from these youth whose lives have been transformed.
Hi, I'm Jamerson, a proud member of the Statesboro Youth Connect and current junior mayor of the Youth Council. I've learned to lead, inspire, and empower my peers. Our Youth Council teaches us not only how to make decisions, but how to advocate, not only for ourselves, but for other youth in the community. Youth Connect opened a paid job placement and community mentorship. We don't just show up, we speak up. So fellow youth, stand up and take your place.
I'm Grace. I used to be shy, but now I'm bold and brave. My participation with these programs gave me the confidence to be a leader and to make my voice heard.
Hi, I'm Eden. My involvement in Youth Council and Youth Connect has helped me overcome my fear of public speaking. I traveled to Atlanta to advocate for youth and community decision-making, showcasing the positive and powerful effects of youth engagement in local governance. I also applied what I've learned to help me win the title of Miss 1965 in our Miss MLK pageant.
I'm Mason. I serve as a junior district representative for the Statesboro Youth Council. Through this experience and my Youth Connect job placement at the municipal court, I've been inspired to pursue a career in civil law.
Hi, I'm Layla, and Youth Connect helped place me with my first job at the Ogeechee Circuit Public Defender's Office. I have been a part of the program for the past 5 summers, and now as a high school graduate, I am stepping into the next chapter of my future confident and with a strong sense of purpose.
I'm Jakori, and I'll be the first in my family to go to college where I plan to study engineering. These youth programs helped me report local news, helped me become an influential member of my community. My mentor also helped me learn how to drive, get my license, and buy my first car. These youth programs have truly altered the path of my future and so many others.
I'm Jalen, a district representative for the Youth Council. I've learned that the community reflects our choices. So I choose to cultivate kindness and inclusivity in every interaction. Because together, we are all Statesboro. We are all Statesboro.
Our job isn't to speak for our youth, it's to make sure that they have the mic. We're committed to ensuring our children inherit a city where they are proud to call home. When our people succeed, we all succeed. We are Statesboro, Georgia, and we're just getting started.
Okay, wow. That was amazing. And Youth Council, oh my goodness. We can't wait to see you out there in the world, besides in Statesboro. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I can't get this out of my head, so I need to ask you, how did you reduce poverty by 30%?
Listen, we're so excited. It's been a lot of fortune, but it's been a lot of preparation as well. We are a community that works collaboratively within our region, and we've been forecasting this for years. And so what we did on the infrastructure side, we began to invest, and we built out our industrial park that has now attracted 3 manufacturing plants that's producing 1,700 jobs and have almost $750 million in economic impact. We partnered with our neighbors, and we brought in the Hyundai plant that's bringing in 16,000 jobs. Yes! Yes!
Thank you so much. That was a really great presentation. I really enjoyed it. And we love that we have Miss 1965 with us. That's really great. My question is for the Greener Borough. So when you guys made your sustainability recommendations to the council, were they implemented, were they adopted or not? And if yes, what were implemented? And if not, what actions are being taken for them to be adopted?
Well, first and foremost, our Greener Borough Commission was a part of a series of commissions that came. But I want to turn the mic over to Helen and have her the opportunity to talk about the work that she's doing.
Well, just to echo all the wonderful things that have been going on in this room, Greener Borough wouldn't exist without collaboration, first and foremost. So the city welcomed us and ushered us. We have a city liaison that we work with closely. They are our biggest advocate, and we get stuff done. So we've already been doing reducing waste campaigns. We've partnered with the Village Builders, part of the Youth Council, to do, and Georgia Power, which is our largest energy provider in the state, to do a Georgia Ease program, which puts, sorry, I'm so excited. But let me take a breath. So about 2/3 of the population in Statesboro are actually renters, so it's a housing justice issue. And so we partner with Village Builders and Georgia Power to get low-income qualifying renters and homeowners qualified to do insulation, weathering, and reduce energy costs. People have been signing up. We're working on bike mobility and sidewalks. We're working on Fix It Fridays. We're doing Recycle Fest, and the city's on board.
Yes.
And I actually want to get the youth back involved in a question here. There was a little bit about sort of the way the youth-led forums led to policy recommendations, even related to the budget. I'd love to hear a little bit about the input they had there and the results of that.
Well, one of the amazing things that we do in our community is that we include our youth in everything. But I want our junior mayor, Jameson Hughes, to come talk about their work on the Willie McTell Trail and the improvements that these kids did.
So, I am the junior mayor for the Youth Council. The Youth Council has led countless of initiatives, whether it's Police and Pizza, resource days. Police and Pizza is a collaboration with the police department, fire department, all of those officials, because youth had fear promoted. So then we try not to promote the fear into our youth and bring for collaboration between different departments so that our city can come back together as one and our youth voice will matter.
Okay. Well, one of the key things that our youth led is that we have a Willie McTell Trail that goes through our city that our citizens use every day. And one of the greatest improvements is that they put together a life-size chess part to improve that trail. So that is a youth-led initiative, and we love what our youth have done. Thank you to our young people.
I want to follow up on that. Anybody from the Youth Council who wants to speak, you know, we have a youth program in Oregon that we're trying to promote, and you know, it's hard, right? And so, what advice would you give to young people about finding their voice, leading in their communities?
I want to give that to Dr. LaSara Lawrence. Oh, you know what? I take that back. Just give it to our young. Layla Scarborough, please.
I would recommend to our fellow youth, always take confidence and have a great attitude. That's what we're all about. We're building networking and job placement skills. We volunteer and always give back. And so that's one thing that the youth stands for, and we always initiative. We've traveled to Atlanta for those initiatives, and we've also did the McKell Trail and everything, but all those, we are just a family, one big family, and that's what we strive to do.
Young people rock.
This is truly super inspiring, and I think what I wanted to touch on a little bit more with the Career Connect program, how has the city navigated youth with different interests that are maybe not typically falling in line with public service roles or something like that? So how does it pursue maybe student interest within career and technical trades, career and technical education, health sciences? How has it gone about that?
That's an amazing question, and we have our wonderful Dr. LaSara Lawrence. Please come, Mitchell, please come forward to let them know.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Mitchell. I'm the program coordinator for the City of Statesboro Village Builders. Thank you for asking that question. What we do is we have a council where everyone is invited. That's our motto. If you want to belong, you can belong on the council. We don't only initiate and do initiatives that are civic engagement, but also that are inclusive to everyone in the community. The youth come with their own ideas. They have a running list of ideas, and that each year they take on different group projects. The latest project that they had was the Willie McTell Trail. It was a place in the community that they saw that was not as vibrant as they would like. They won a GMA grant from the Georgia Municipal Association. They turned a $500 grant into a $6,000 project. They advocated for the funding. They built out the plan, and along with our city departments and our city staff, they were able to upgrade this trail that now is being used by so many, bringing family members together. We have several other different initiatives that the youth are engaged in, whether it's their interest is in mental health awareness, whether their interest is in healthy eating, or their interest is in whatever is happening in their school. We have several different initiatives within the council that they're able to participate in and collaborate in. They also go monthly, they come to our city hall meetings. They're involved and engaged in what's happening in our community so that they know and they are aware of how decisions today can affect them tomorrow and years from now. So they are very engaged in all of the different programs. It's a space and a place that everyone can be engaged. Anyone can bring their ideas. We don't have a long application process. They simply apply, and then they are welcome.
A key part of our Youth Connect program is that it prepares them for every walk of life, and it prepares them to be leaders. So from everywhere, from public works to attorney offices to retail to our local news station, we all prepare our young people so that they can lead in any aspect. So whether it's an associate's, a job training certificate, a degree, law degree, or if you want to be a doctor, we address that all in our job training program.
Thank you. I have one quick question and quick answer about the relationship with the university. Yes. That's it's a big number of students with a small number of full-time residents. So how does that work?
Our students are our residents. We take care of everyone that live, work, and play inside of Statesboro. But our community is spurred on the legacy and the tradition of Georgia Southern University, but it was the spirit of the people that was there prior to 1906 that led to that establishment, and that spirit still leads on today.
Oh, thank you for that. Wow, I have to say I'm stealing Fix It Friday, so I let it be known. So thank you all so much for being here. You're a total inspiration, and we'll look forward to visiting with you in the hall.
All right. And if you want to remember the name,
good morning, Tallahassee. I think there are more residents of Florida in this room than there are of Colorado. Thank you for being with us. Tallahassee, Florida, are you ready? Ready! You may begin.
Roll the video. Coming to you from Florida's vibrant, inclusive, sustainable capital city, home to 2 major universities and the largest and highest-powered magnet lab in the world. A place where sustainable transit options are expanding on the street and in the air. And more doors are opening with affordable housing. Experience art intertwined with thoughtfully planned multimodal corridors. And see how activating glorious green spaces under majestic tree canopies draw people together. For the change makers, innovators, history buffs, community leaders, storytellers, advocates, and all-around passionate people. Welcome to Tallahassee. 200 years of history, innovation, and community spirit. And we're just getting started. Tonight's guests include Tallahassee's clean energy champions, Southside Action Faction, and Parks People. And featuring the middle school rock band, the Tallahassee Roots.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Mayor John
Thank you very much. Welcome. We are Tallahassee. Let me hear it from my neighbors in the studio audience. Hey, neighbor. Well, Greg Tish, it's great to see you and the Tallahassee Roots. Ladies and gentlemen, we are streaming live from the vibrant, the inclusive, the sustainable capital city of the state of Florida, Tallahassee. Now, Greg, you know we just had a bicentennial last year.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we did, Greg. And for 200 years, we have been going strong. We have come a long way since 1824. But today, Tallahassee balances rich history with cutting-edge innovation, and it's driven by our engaged and, quite frankly, our awesome citizens in Tallahassee. Tonight, you are in for a real treat. Tonight, you are in for a treat. I want you to join me at the desk as we truly explore our shared vision and talk about the legacy that everybody in Tallahassee calls home. Come on and join me. Come on and join me. All right, Roots. Roots, it's great to see y'all. How you doing tonight? Folks, we got a great show for you. Get excited. Our first guests are truly electric. Literally. Give it up for our clean energy champions. Here we go. Michael, welcome to you and the team. Glad y'all are here. Tallahassee continues to be a national leader in sustainability, setting an ambitious goal of reaching 100% net clean renewable energy by 2050. Michael, what's our story? How'd we do it, man?
Mayor, thank you. Tallahassee's clean energy plan was shaped by thousands of residents through town halls, surveys, focus groups. Rooted in equity, health, and sustainability, the plan prioritizes reducing emissions and expanding access, clean, renewable energy. Commissioner Porter knows when everybody has a seat at the table, we soar to great heights.
Talk to me, Jack.
Tallahassee is home to the nation's largest airport-based solar farm with 60 megawatts of capacity spanning 360 acres. We were also the first city in Florida to power all our city municipal buildings with our solar energy and fully subscribed our solar program with 1,600 commercial and residential participants.
That's right.
And Mayor, as you know, just this week, we broke ground on our city's first municipally owned network of EV charging stations. That's another milestone on our way to 100% clean energy built by and for our community.
Talk to me, Eric.
Thanks, Eric. FSU is proud to have partnered with the City of Tallahassee to implement an all-electric bus fleet that serves our students and the surrounding community. By significantly reducing carbon emissions, we have set a model for other communities on efficient and and eco-conscious transportation.
There you go.
Thank you, Seminole Rick. Innovation and collaboration are core to the mission at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Recognized as the top public HBCU in the country, FAMU Rattlers are striking strong with research initiatives focused on clean energy solutions and environmental sustainability, not just in our local communities, but across the region.
Come on, Antoine, bring it down for me.
Through city programs like free home energy audits, energy grants, and upgrades, our families have saved over 30% on their utility bill. In Tallahassee, clean energy is both attainable and affordable.
How about that? Together we are generating a brighter, a cleaner, and a greener tomorrow. I love this energy. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. Greg, I love it.
I love the energy too. Speaking of that, I sure could use some. I am hungry.
Greg, I got some good news for you. It's time for the recipe segment. Let's get Mayor Pro Tem Diane Williams-Cox out here to share what it takes to cook up some good community action. DWC.
Tallahassee Southside is a neighborhood full of rich history and culture. It has been long overdue for reinvestment. After too many years of inaction, we have reinvigorated the Southside. We found that our greatest asset was to listen to our neighbors. Right, Devin?
Yes, ma'am. Rather than just making assumptions, we asked questions. And to get answers, we went to the community. We set up drive-thrus at grocery store parking lots to get faster responses to our surveys. We had pop-up community events at schools and community centers. Where the people were, that's where we went to engage them.
As a proud Southside resident, I joined hundreds of my neighbors in helping shape this plan. I led the way in speaking up about our priorities for our community. We advocated to reduce blight, vacant lots. We advocated for better parks, safer streets, and the city didn't just listen, they act.
As a part of the Southside Action Plan, over 2,000 new affordable homes were built or financed on the south side of Tallahassee. Private and public investment coming together, recipe for success, right, Commissioner Richardson?
Absolutely. Our Southside Action Plan has been baked into city planning, including our 5-year comprehensive plan. And we're already seeing the outcomes of our efforts in this regard. We're seeing our communities be beautified. We're seeing sidewalks be put in those neighborhoods, stormwater improvements, affordable housing, park preservation, and much more.
Mayor, speaking of parks, why don't you park it right over there?
Come on, I'm right here. I'm glad that you mentioned the parks, because during our bicentennial, Tallahassee set and reached our goal of growing our network to parks to 100 in the city of Tallahassee. Where are my park people? CB, great to see you. Tell us the Tallahassee story.
Great to see you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, parks are essential to good health and community connections. In Tallahassee, we asked, we planned, and we built. And today we have over 100 parks. And get this, over 90% of our residents live within a 10-minute walk of either a park or green space.
Within our nearly 4,000 acres of city-managed parkland, we offer amenities that our customers want and that make us a top-tier livable community. We love our mountain bike trails, our disc golf courses, our pickleball courts, beach volleyball courts, fishing docks, dog parks.
The basketball courts and skate parks are awesome. The teen and community centers are a really cool place to hang out.
With good leadership, planning, investment, and support from citizen advisory committees.
There are parks and activities in every corner of Tallahassee, designed for people of all ages and abilities.
Well, there you go, folks. You just saw a glimpse of Florida's capital city, where history, nature, and innovation truly come together with a little southern charm as well. We are 200 years strong, and we're just getting started. Oh my God, look at this! There is Astro from the Challenger Learning Center of downtown Tallahassee. Folks, I can't think of a better way to end the show tonight. Our future is bright. Have a great evening. Roots, take us out. Take me out. Woo!
Wow, what a Sunday morning. I'm going to try not to shout because I'm feeling the urge, but I'm not going to. So I have a question about the Southside Action Plan. That's a lot of money that's invested. And I was really curious about, you mentioned in the things to come that you're trying to protect residents now so people aren't getting displaced. So I'm really curious about how that, about those efforts to keep people in their homes.
I'm Diane Williams-Cox, Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Tallahassee and Chair of the CRA, Community Redevelopment Agency. And we're working together with the CRA and the City of Tallahassee and other partners, nonprofit partners, to make sure that we're doing the things that our residents have asked us to do in their community. It is their neighborhood, and we're following their lead. We have community action committees, and we work with them to help us deliver what they want. Not what we think they want, but what they say they want. And that's the power of listening to our neighbors.
I'm Curtis Richardson. I'm on the Dean of the City Commission, and I live along with Commissioner Williams-Cox, our Mayor Pro Tem. We live on the south side of town and have advocated for making sure that those areas which had been neglected in the past and underserved have the resources that they need in order to be proud of their neighborhoods as others are.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing presentation. This just made my whole day. My question is for the 100 parks. What strategy did the city use to expand equitable access to parks for everyone, the marginalized communities?
Access Park. Good. Oh, there we go. See.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Barber, an active citizen and a recent retiree from the city of Tallahassee. The 100 Park strategy is just like everything else we do. We pay attention to our community, listen to their needs, and we create spaces that the community is interested in. So we have a variety of parks. We have neighborhood parks. We have a big, huge park down in the city of Tallahassee called Cascades Park. Once an area that needed remediation, we remediated. We took what was a burden to our community, made it a world-class park. We have exercise equipment there. There's a park, walking trails, restaurants, hotels, office buildings, and we generated participation from all over the community. So there's accessibility in our neighborhoods. You can go to your neighborhood park, or you can come downtown and join us at Cascades Park.
And to tag along, our park system is nationally recognized as one of the best. In fact, Cascades Park, which was mentioned, was actually designed out of a super fund to be a stormwater facility first and foremost. It's an international award-winning facility. It could take on the water of a Category 4 hurricane head-on, flood to the top, and convey the water to the Gulf of Mexico all the way through the southern county as well. So not only is it an amazing park that also brought about $160 million worth of private investment, but it's a stormwater facility first and foremost.
Thank you, Don, and then Debbie.
Yeah, very good. I guess I wanted to start by saying to you, and I wish I would have thought of this with the other cities that had their mayors show up. Thank you for showing up. Sure. I know you're busy. And you gotta love the youth band. Rock out, dudes. My question is, I was really intrigued on your Southside Action Plan summary that a lot of the questions raised had been raised 20 years ago, and you're pretty candid in saying nothing was done, or not much was done. And my question is, what was the impetus to re-engage and to say either it's about time, or what was it that brought it back to the fore?
Well, I think it had a lot to do with the fact that for all of the years that the plan was in place, no action was taken. And until individual residents like Talithia, and I'll let her address the issue as well, and our Mayor Pro Tem Williams-Cox, until we came onto the commission, there had not been an African American from that area elected to the commission. And so we began to advocate, and we changed the name of the plan. It was something else that we couldn't agree with, and made sure that we began to actually effectuate the changes that needed to be made in that area. Talithia?
Hey, again, I'm Talithia Edwards, proud Southside resident. A lot of this plan, what you see, was reinvigorated by community. So we each, in our marginalized communities, we created what's called the Neighborhood First plans. And so while this plan was created 20 years ago, communities began to be activated and voices coming to the forefront to lead based on the leadership that was now sitting at the dais. And the voices and the priorities from our community were things that the community had talked about, but now you can put legs behind it, right? Because you have citizens raising the priorities coming directly from the community, and then you have the action of the city acting, and not only just acting, but investing, right? We were invested upward of $6.4 million into our community for broad infrastructure changes, and that's a big deal when you think about this investment. So that Southside Action Plan addresses a lot of that.
One more shout out for the rock band. I have a front row seat. I can see them. They're fabulous. Okay, so one's a quick question, second is maybe quick. How many of the 100 parks are in Southside?
That's a great question. Cindy.
We have 102 parks actually with the city, and they're all over the city of Tallahassee, so everybody has equal access. And as we mentioned, our residents are within a 10-minute walk to any park. So I can't give you an exact number, but I can tell you that our residents are within a 10-minute walk down on the south side and all through our community.
And I'll just
and I might add, while we may not be able to give you an exact number, I'm from Southside Tallahassee. And I can tell you, Jay Gaither has a park, access to it. Bond has one, Silver Ridge has one, Jack McLean has a park. So we have parks in Southside, and some of our best infrastructure and parks is in the Southside community. That's our goal, Cascades Park, Southside Tallahassee.
And we just broke ground on a brand new park on the south side of Tallahassee.
And I think that one of the reasons why we're struggling to answer that question is because we're also envisioning it as a community. We take great pride in the connectivity of our parks. So what one person might consider one park actually is a string of green spaces that are all linked together.
Love that answer. Thank you, thank you. I also detect a lot of pride that you have 2 universities in your community, FSU and FMAU.
And a state college.
How do the students from those 2 universities get involved in what you're talking about here?
So we actually, the average age of citizens of Tallahassee, population 200,000, is about 27. We are a young city because of the student population. And because we have Florida State, which is one of the top 20 research institutions in the nation right in our backyard, FAMU, #1 public HBCU in the nation, year after year after year, and Tallahassee State College right in our backyard, it's important that we make sure that the student population is very involved with their government.
I'm Rick Burnett from FSU, and one thing about both of our institutions is that we are residential campuses, so students come from all over the world to our campuses. And so they are coming to be those students who are going to make a difference in the world. That's what this generation is all about. And so we have 700 registered student organizations at FSU. Those are organizations where a lot of them are focusing on volunteerism and ways to help their community and the things that they're interested in.
And servant leadership is an ultimate and utmost importance to Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Volunteerism is at the top of the score chart for us as well. And one of our largest contributing efforts in the area of research has to do with clean energy solutions and environmental sustainability. And with our joint College of Engineering, FSU and FAMU, we are definitely tackling that with patents, a plethora of patents that are being considered by NASA as well.
That's time, but thank you all so much for coming. We're totally inspired by your story, and keep telling it out there. Western Riverside, thank you for bringing us home with so much energy and gigantic smiles. So, Western Riverside, are you ready? You may begin.
Roll the video. Just kidding, we don't have a video, but we're the only ones. They've been left out. We were gonna do one, but we didn't want to outshine the volume of Tallahassee, so we said, let's dial it back a little bit so we're fair. So instead of starting with the video, if I could indulge you with a round of applause to make Madeline's birthday extra special as she's visiting here. All right, good afternoon. We are ecstatic to be here. We are honored to represent a region that is 2 million people strong. 18 cities, I don't think you heard what I said. 18 cities, a county, 2 water districts, a county office of education, and a whole lot of civic pride. As a council of governments, no, go ahead, we'll take the applause. As a council of governments, we work with and for our cities on things like economies of scale, technical challenges, and the stuff they just don't want to do. We operate like most cities, except our city council has 108 voting members.
We are Western Riverside Council of Governments, or WRCOG for short, because seriously, try saying that 10 times fast.
So we're here to share a story of action, inclusion, innovation, and get this, a kangaroo rat with a big impact.
Western Riverside County is one of the fastest growing regions in California. That growth comes with incredible opportunity, but let's be real, it comes with a few headaches.
Traffic, housing affordability, energy demands, and that one Trader Joe's parking lot that everybody fights over.
So we asked ourselves, what kind of future are we trying to build, and who's going to actually help us to build it?
Our answer, collaboration, listening, and a belief that sustainability isn't just about trees and tech, it's about people. And yes, one specific little rodent.
So let's talk about that kangaroo rat. In 1988, this adorable federally endangered animal essentially froze all development across our region.
Now, that's not exactly what you would expect to lead a regional policy shift. But instead of fighting and finger pointing, we tried something wild.
We worked together. We brought scientists, local leaders, and developers, and frankly, a lot of patients into one room.
The result? One of the first habitat conservation plans in the country. Woohoo! That HCP created 46,000 acres of land, created 15,000 acres of nature reserves, and cleared a path for smart, responsible growth.
And it worked. In 2022, the Stevens kangaroo rat was downlisted from endangered to threatened.
That's an awesome task. And so we know, hey, conservation doesn't always get an applause. But today, let's hear it for the teamwork. And for that tiny trailblazer who made us rethink everything.
But leading a region isn't just about land. It's about people. That's why we built the WRCOG Public Service Fellowship and the Inland Regional Energy Network.
They're kind of like internships, except way more impact and way fewer coffee runs.
Way, way more impactful. In fact, in 2016, we've launched and have had students participate in over 135 local programs. 135 students have participated in the program, and 75% of them have actually gained jobs in public service. 75%. They're leading things like city council presentations and energy audits, all before they even graduate.
One fellow helped pass a citywide policy, another helped develop a climate adaptation plan, then got hired on the spot.
This isn't just about work experience, it's identity shaping.
And my big takeaway as a WRCOG fellow, I can do this. I belong here.
Let's zoom out for a minute, because in our region, community engagement sometimes starts with a trash picker,
Or a garbage bag. Or a crate of slightly misshapen watermelon. Love Your Neighborhood is WRCOG's cleanup and beautification program. Over 5,000 volunteers have helped us clear 250,000 pounds of, let's call it regional mystery junk.
And our regional food rescue program, it's kind of like DoorDash, but for food recovery. We connect schools, stores, and restaurants with food banks all through a simple app.
We rescued over 6.2 million pounds of food. That's millions of meals that didn't end up in landfills and instead landed where they belong, feeding our neighbors. But let's be clear, none of this work happens without trust. And in Western Riverside County, we build trust the old-fashioned way.
By showing up at town halls.
By co-hosting workshops with local nonprofits.
By meeting people where they are, literally.
Here at WRCOG, we're leading the way with strength, smarts, and yes, muddy boots from cleanup events. We don't just check that community engagement box, we live it.
So when we drop lines like sustainability, we're not just throwing out buzzwords.
We start with neighborhoods.
With young people stepping into leadership.
With cleaner streets, smarter solutions, and voices that are heard.
In Western Riverside County, we're making sustainable choices accessible.
We're giving people tools and a voice, and we're doing it together.
Not every region can say they protected endangered species and built affordable housing.
Or trained future leaders and cleared over 250,000 pounds of trash off our streets. Or rescued 6 million pounds of food and made people laugh at a government presentation.
Because that's how we do it at WRCOG.
Yo, Tashara, let's kick it.
When I say WR, you say COG. WR!
COG!
WR!
COG!
When I say think, you say big. Think!
And we're leading the future
Wow, thank you so much. I didn't know I'd be shouting COG first thing in the morning. So I grew up in the county that was ground zero for the listing of the western spotted owl. And there's still a lot of bitterness and divisiveness around that listing. So I'm very curious about how the community responded to the work around the adorable little kangaroo rat and the adaptations to development that you had to make.
Thank you so much for your question. And you're right, it wasn't an easy feat. You know, people don't get really excited when you tell them that they can't build their dream home because we found an endangered species. And so what was important for us to do was to connect everyone to the land, to make sure that they understand and had an appreciation for the land. And let's face it, we all know that healthy ecosystems include healthy environments, they create healthy communities, they make healthy people. And so it was very important for us to do the collaboration. We brought landowners, farmers, we connected local government, state, federal government, the military bases, so that they could understand the impact that it could be for us to develop this land and to ease some of the pains of development by setting aside the lands for conservation.
So
I just thought it was really great, guys, just to like start off. It was amazing to hear about the food conservation efforts, and that's going to be what my question's about. But it was super empowering to hear that from such a large scale that you guys have such great impact and the ability to also create jobs and also a pipeline for the future leaders of your region. And so with that being said, for the food conservation program, I was curious to see like what is the specific process for actually onboarding specific restaurants or local businesses and making sure that they're informed, willing to do so, and that willing to participate in the program, and also kind of getting them to understand the reasoning behind making sure they take the extra steps of actually taking that food to the food bank. So how does that kind of look?
Hi, thank you for the question. My name is Casey Daly, and I have the privilege of serving as the WRCOG Director of Energy and Environmental Programs. So thank you so much for the question. So really, with a lot of our programs, and the food rescue program is an example of it, we start with state mandates. So in California passed Senate Bill 1383, which requires a very large percentage of food to be diverted from landfills. And so with that legislation and that mandate, that gave our agency the ability to work with our cities to identify those not only food rescue organizations, but the generators as well. And so through cities engaging directly with the businesses and the entities that generate the food, we go out there, we conduct surveys, we talk to them, we educate them on the rules and the mandates. And then, honestly, a lot of these like restaurants and grocery stores have some sort of mechanism in place previously, so it was easy for us to kind of go in there and just kind of put some structure around it, so that people understood that this is the law. We're not here to penalize you, but we are here to make sure that you're in compliance. And so we do that throughout the 5 cities that participate in our program. And the real, obviously, the benefit of it is just being able to have that food being diverted from landfills and going to feed folks that need it, food banks and other places like that. Hope that answered your question.
Great, thank you. I appreciated that. I love the presentation. I'm curious, I did hear you when you said 2 million people, 18 cities. And what I'm interested in is, it sounded like the fellowship is super important. Oftentimes I think about how youth and ability is widely distributed, but opportunity is not always widely distributed. What type of efforts do you make to ensure that those fellowships are spread across the youth that are across 18 cities?
Well, so there's actually 2 pieces to that. So we've got 18 cities within our side, but we also partner with neighbors. So we'll tell you a little bit about, we'll have somebody speak to what we do within our 18 cities, but we also have a larger group that goes beyond our boundaries that we take care of as well. So we'll have you go second, and we'll do the first fellowship.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Elisa Laurel. I actually serve as the City of Corona's Economic Development Administrator, but previous to that, actually served as the Chief of Staff for the Mayor of Riverside. I say that because I grew up in a small town in the city of Moreno Valley in western Riverside County, and I never thought I would have any type of opportunity to go into a leadership role as a Chief of Staff in less than 15 years. That was all because of a workforce program that got me into public service, very similar to the one that WRCOG is running today. Our diversity within the western Riverside County region goes from affluent to very, very low income. But what we try to do is partner with all of our schools and education systems. We have major universities, research universities, to faith-based universities that we partner with, and we make sure we're on the ground level at community groups or at recruitment efforts to make sure that we get them into the pipeline for workforce programs. With all of our 18 cities, we have so much geography that we need to cover, but at the same time, we have so many problems that we need to solve. I can share with you one of my fellows in the program. She actually was the very first to graduate in her family. She then went on to work for a state legislature, so we have been able to help foster the growth in our region, and they have been able to go into levels of government that they never thought that they would be able to do. So I'm gonna kind of leave it at that and throw it to the other program that Casey handles.
Thank you. So our Iron Energy Fellowship Program, as Kurt mentioned, is actually spread between WRCOG, our neighbors to the east, which is the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, and our partners to the north, which is the San Bernardino Council of Governments. So collectively, we have 52 cities in both counties that make up the Inland Empire, as it's referred to. Our Energy Fellowship Program is actually an AmeriCorps funded, it's sponsored with AmeriCorps. So we're very proud of that, and I could speak to some of the challenges that we went through when it got doged, but we were able to successfully pivot and bring all of our fellows back. But to answer the specific question about how we engage with disadvantaged communities, that's what we prioritize. And so we start with the disadvantaged community. We start with the ones that are the most disadvantaged and really try to place the fellows in those agencies, because not only are those agencies in those cities the ones that need the capacity and need the assistance the most, they're also the ones that their residents need those opportunities. And so when we initially launched the fellowship program, we partnered with all of our four-year institutions in the Inland Empire. But after some feedback from our executive committee members, we expanded that into the community colleges. So now anybody that's in community college that's working towards an associate's or has an associate's degree is eligible for the fellowship. So we're really trying to, kind of bring down those barriers, reduce those barriers so people of all education levels can participate. And that even extends into our K through 12 system as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Add a little bit more to that. We also know that education doesn't start and connection doesn't start when you get to high school and college. So we also have an environmental education program where we bring youth out to our reserves. We teach them about the protection of our species, and we teach them how to have an affinity for nature and connect them to the environment. So that's also a program that we have with WRCOG.
And then to close out to your question about sort of the equity, how we balance that out. So the program that you just heard about, I should mention that in one school in particular, it's a school that doesn't have a whole lot of resources, so much so that their classroom kept getting broken into. So these children now learn in a windowless classroom. And the one field trip that they take every year is that field trip because it's paid for by this group.
Thank you so much for all that you've shared. I wonder if you could speak a little bit to sort of the cultural and linguistic access that you have for these great programs. Can you say that? Cultural and linguistic access for the food program as well as the fellowship. Just how do you get the information out? How do you engage for community input with diverse cultures and languages spoken throughout your many cities?
So all of our activities are bilingual, at least on the fellowship side, and so we make a point to really directly engage with as many diverse communities as possible. And as far as getting out into the community, we go into the community. We partner a lot with CBOs, community-based organizations throughout the region, because we know that they're the ones that are actually the closest to the community. They are the community, and so it's really important for us to establish those relationships with CBOs, because we're, as a regional government entity, really nobody knows about us, right? It's, the cities are our primary interactions, but the public is not necessarily who we actually get to engage with all that much. So working with the CBOs is a great way to kind of get into the community.
And one other piece we have, so within some of our programs, they actually affect small business. So our team has been able to go out and specifically work with small business, but rather than through sort of the big dominant chambers of the region, we've been able to work with the Black Chamber, the Asian Chamber, the different groups who have access to a group of people who we can't traditionally reach through some of the other means.
Thank you so much. That's time. WRCOG, before we say goodbye to our last team, I'm hoping this entire room can say thank you to the first team of Akron, who has been sitting here hour after hour cheering for Thank you, Akron, for being with us start to finish. And thank you to WRCOG. It was inspiring. We're going to take your ideas and spread them, and we just appreciate you. So we'll see you out in the hall. Take care.